Okay, so next up, I wanted to do some recognitions. And so what I did is I invited some people to speak. And what I asked them to speak about is what's up with them. And we had talked last week in our meeting about how nice it would be to just hear what Rotarians do outside of Rotary and how they're also engaged in Rotary at the same time. So what I asked them to do is just to tell us a bit about what they've been up to, what they do, what's their vocation, how do they spend their time, and then to say what they love about Rotary. So how we're all balancing that. We've all got our vocations and our jobs, and then we also have our commitment to community and how we help through Rotary. So I thought that'd be interesting for all of us. So I have Lynda's here to talk about what she's been up to, and Robert's going to talk about what he's been up to, and then Maggie will talk about what she's been up to. So I don't know if you're comfortable standing there or if you'd like to come up here. All right, so these are recognitions.
Yes, well, I was kind of surprised when I got the email from her. She said, "What are you known for in the community?" Well, that's a question. So
as far as what you know.
Yeah, I thought about it, and I thought, well, I'll focus on one thing that I do know about what people know that I've done in the community, and then I'll sort of lead up very quickly to how you get to those points in your life where you're able to affect change in the community. And so, just a brief background, I grew up in the 50s in Ukiah. It was a perfect place to grow up as a kid. And then I came to Humboldt State to go to college, and I had always loved sports, so I thought I'm going to be an alternative physical education teacher. I wanted to do that for years. So I eventually found myself in a gymnasium with a bunch of kids, and I thought, why did I think I wanted to do that? So I started thinking, and anyway, I picked up some more classes at Humboldt and was focused in another direction. But what I realized is that it's necessary to have a goal, and then you have to have plan A, plan B, and resiliency. And if you do those things, it always works out. It may not be the way you first think it will, but it will work out. And so in college, I'll go back to high school a bit. My mother, I was the first one in my family to go to college. And my mother said, "That's great, you can take all those college prep classes, but you have to take typing and shorthand because someday you're going to need a job." So, okay. It's a little resentful, but I understood it. So anyway, I did that. But the beauty of that was that the first year of school they paid for, and then I was on my own. So I worked with those skills in many, many departments on the campus at Humboldt, and I got to know people in ways that I wouldn't have known them just as a student. So I had that background, and so I went up to take my different classes, and in the meantime, it was almost summer, and I left, and I had a call on my answer machine when I got back about an administrative trainee job in the personnel department, and I thought, that's not me. But anyway, I called him up, and the fellow was talking to me, and he said, "We have references from various departments on campus, and you've worked all over the place, you know it, and so we'd like you to apply for this job." I go, "Well, what the heck, you know, anything else I'm doing?" So I applied for that job. Well, I got it, and I use that example because that was the best thing that had happened to me in my life up to that point, but I didn't understand it. But it was really the opening of a door that gave me a lifelong career that has enhanced my life in so many ways. And it's being open to those things. And anyway, I got promoted. I ended up being the director. But prior to that, when I was an associate director, President McCrone was the president of the university at that time, and he was very anxious for his administrative people to be involved in community affairs and have an impact in the community, not just be the people on the Hill. And so one of the deans had been on the grand jury, and so I talked to him, and he put my name in for the grand jury because I thought, well, that would be a very good way to serve the community. And so anyway, I was selected for the grand jury, and that was really a turning point for me, because during the year I was on the grand jury, there were two very brutal murders in McKinleyville. Two children, a boy and a girl, were beaten to death by one of the parents, a male parent, or not a parent, but a person in the household. And so at the end of our jury term, that came to us for various kinds of reasons. So at any rate, the presiding judge asked me if I would stay over and be the chairman of the grand jury the next year, because they were going to focus on improving mental health facilities, the child welfare services, as they called it at the time, Semper Virens. There was no connection in the community at that time between all these agencies so that they could protect these kids from being abused, and two of them essentially murdered. So I said I would do that. So I worked on that for a year, and that was eye-opening as well, because I had this more idyllic lifestyle of my own and my family, and realized then for the first time that there are many, many people, particularly in Humboldt County, that don't have that opportunity. So from there, we reviewed things, we made recommendations, our grand jury reports on file in the county, and you can see. Okay, so you can see what we did. So that's
you got such a full life.
But anyway, but those things are important, because I think, like other people have said today, we need to focus on our community. So anyway, the last part of this is that the presiding judge and the DA asked me at the end of that grand jury if I would contact some people in Sacramento, because there was such a thing as a CASA program down there, and they wanted to know more about it. So I did. I put together a small group of people, we investigated that, and we implemented the CASA program here in Humboldt County. It's still going today. And that's the result of two very unfortunate children that were murdered in McKinleyville. And so that, and then my last is a pitch. The other thing that I found out
30 seconds for the pitch.
when I was in the grand jury, two ladies were in the group called Humboldt Sponsors, and so they talked me into joining that, which I've been now for many years, and a president and mostly a board member. But just in the first week of April, we are about to award almost $100,000 in grants to local kids. And this brings our total up to $2.3 million that we have awarded to kids in this community since 1971. That's a lot of money that 50 women earn and 350 associates. So I just want to say that there are all kinds of ways to help the community, and I know that we do a lot of them here. And if anybody, we have a big rummage sale, this is my pitch, in October, the first weekend of October, and if anybody has good rummage, furniture, what have you, I have a barn that I put stuff in all year long. It can be delivered, or I'll pick it up and we'll sell it, and we'll make about $65,000 the first Saturday of October, and all of that money goes to kids. Thanks. Awesome.